pleasure to introduce the students of Valamar Elementary School, Violet, Grace, and Thomas, Karina, Alice, Ayala, and Anabia, who will lead us in the flag salute, read the land acknowledgement, and provide us highlights of their school.
I do, even so far. I don't even know if I feel like doing a pledge at this point, and
I went to the Supreme Court, you don't have to.
thank you. I know, it's like I feel bad, but I don't feel very patriotic these days.
Under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Liberty. Democracy. I'm right. And there's no liberty here.
Yes, we humbly extend our gratitude to the Ramatish elders and community. We recognize that we benefit from living and working on the traditional homeland, and we affirm their sovereign rights as First Peoples.
As the original stewards of this land, the Ramaytush Ohlone understand the interconnectedness of all things and the importance of maintaining harmony with nature. Likewise, Pacifica School District commits teaching our school community how to be responsible stewards of this land.
At Valamar, we have many programs, clubs, and events that unite the school as a whole. As an 8th grader who has been a student at Valamar since kindergarten, I have absolutely loved my time here and had so much fun and have learned so much. This year, in 8th grade, I have joined many clubs such as Tupi Education. Tupi's goal for middle schoolers to help educate peers about drug and nicotine use and how it can negatively affect people, especially youth, with their growth and health. We have also had field trips this year in 8th grade that help connect us to our community. For example, we went to the Calera Creek water recycling plant in Pacifica, where we learned about where our water and sewage goes and how they try to maintain nature and wildlife in our city. We also recently had an event called the Challenge Day, where 8th grade and 7th graders had a whole day all about bullying prevention and being able to be yourself, free of judgment, no matter what.
Through these events, there is an extremely strong community at Valamar, which is supported by the grades kindergarten through 8th coming together. At my last year in middle school and at Valamar, I'm glad to be able to spend it here, where there is mutual respect for each other seen by the support within the grades. Peer Mediators, as a program, helps bring the younger grades together with the middle schoolers and older students as well, helping the community and family-like feel that the school has. Coming together and showing some kindness in the school and learning about each other will help a lot, and I'm grateful for Valamar to be able to teach me this as a student.
What is Peer Mediators? It is a middle school club that meets Fridays and help conflicts between we help kinder through third resolve conflicts during their recesses. What I like about peer mediators is how it unites me and other peer mediators with younger grades. How it unites us is we don't get to interact with them a lot. So getting to interact with them through peer mediators is really great. We get to teach them things like how to respect the people in their grade, teachers, and middle schoolers.
Another thing we do at Valamar is Family Day. It is about bringing kids from different grades together so we can build a better community with younger and older grades. We have this every month so we can have different themes for different months. Around the last time of Valamar Day, we do something special for the 8th graders because they're about to finish their 8th grade. And it helps so we can get closer with them and the younger kids, so we can form a closer bond together. We have very different themes such as bingo, mancala, family portraits, and more.
I really like Family Day because I have made many new friends in my first year at Valamar.
Valamar tries to do their school better every day for students. We want everybody to be kind to each other, so we're doing the Great Kindness Challenge. The school gives you a paper that says things that you can do to be kind, and then when you do one, you mark it down. If you did each one, you can get a prize. It's really fun to do, and it helps you practice on how to be kind, and sometimes you make new friends or you get closer to people. It's happening this week, and I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Barbara, will you take a roll call? Yes. Here. Here. The district records the audio portion of the meetings. All records are kept in the superintendent's office for 30 days and are available during that period of time for inspection by members of the public on district equipment without charge. In-person speakers wishing to address the board on agenda or non-agenda items, please complete a request card with your name, address, and the item number and submit it to the board president or superintendent. You will be called to address the board and may speak for up to 3 minutes. Virtual speakers wishing to address the board on agenda or non-agenda items, please submit your first and last name and agenda item you wish to speak on in the Q&A area of the webinar. Please do not submit comments or questions in the Q&A area. You will be called to address the board. Your microphone will be unmuted and you may be able to speak for up to 3 minutes. Please note the public is welcome to provide comment on the board. Remarks are limited to 3 minutes unless extended or limited by a vote of the board. Maximum of 20 minutes, unless extended by the board, is allocated for each subject discussed. The Brown Act open meeting regulation under which the board must operate do not allow board members to comment on non-agenda items or information that you bring up that is not on the agenda. Additionally, no action can be taken. However, the board may give direction to the staff and following a comment. Okay, item 6, approval of the agenda. I would like to make a motion to amend the agenda and move item 12B, the provisional trustee interview selection and appointment, to the first order of business following the communications and the approval of the amended agenda. Do I have a? Okay. Report out on closed session. The board met in closed session to discuss the closed session item, comprehensive school safety plans and security and facilities protocol tactical portion. The board voted 4-0 to approve the tactical portion of the plans. Linda did the motion and Kai seconded if you need that for your. Okay, approval of the consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda will be approved with one motion, which is not debatable, and which requires a unanimous vote for passage. If any member of the board, the superintendent, or the public so requests, any item shall be removed from the selection section and placed on the regular order of business following approval of the consent agenda. Are there any questions? Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Do you have a second? I'll second. Okay. Item 9, superintendent and board special recognitions. 8B. Oh. Okay. For item 8B, we have a speaker, Sandy Mills.
Hi, I'm Sandy Mills. I'm speaking on behalf of Joan Whiteman, who's out of the country. The minutes of the meeting need to accurately reflect what transpired at the January 22nd, 2025 meeting. The minutes actually accurately reflect the comments made by all the speakers. It also states that an additional 20 minutes was given for public comment. What is not reflected in the minutes is that not all the people who submitted cards were allowed to speak. Based on the number of yellow cards submitted and the number of speakers, 11 people were not allowed to comment on this very important topic that is fundamentally dismantling two popular programs that have existed in our community for 50 years. I request that the following statement be placed as part of the minutes, section 10A, after list of commenters. Based on the yellow cards submitted, 11 people were not allowed to comment. Thank you.
Okay. Item 9, Superintendent and Board Special Recognitions.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Board of Trustees. This is one of our favorite parts of our agenda. And so this evening, we are going to acknowledge two of our greats, our Pacifican greats. And this is an acknowledgement of William and Beth Kellerman, dedicated to the PAC-9 and the Pacifica community. We extend our gratitude to William and Beth for their incredible dedication and years of service as leaders of Cub Scout PAC-9. Their commitment has impacted the lives of countless Pacifica youth, providing guidance, encouragement, and inspiration to generations of Cub Scouts. Cub Scout PAC-9, the oldest scouting unit in Pacifica and one of the oldest in the Bay Area, was founded in April 1938. Shortly after, Boy Scout Troop 29 was established in August of the same year. Beth and William, both single parents with 3 children each, met in January 1999. In September of 2000, they moved to Pacifica. Their youngest son, Brogan, joined PAC-9 in 2002 and bridged to Troop 29 in 2006. In 2012, Brogan achieved the rank of Centennial Eagle, the 100th anniversary of the first Eagle Scouts. During his time in PAC-9, William served as Assistant Scoutmaster, Committee Chair, Merit Badge Counselor, and Youth Protection Champion. He continues to volunteer as Assistant Scoutmaster and Merit Badge Counselor for Troop 29. In December 2020, Club Scouting faced challenges due to COVID-19 lockdowns, and PAC-9 considered dissolving. Led by former Club Master and Troop 29 Scoutmaster Oliver Bailey, a group of former leaders met, and William agreed to step in as Cub Master with Oliver as Committee Chair. Beth volunteered as the Dean Leader to allow their granddaughter Alice to become the first girl member of PAC-9. From a minimum of 3 Cubs in 2021, the PAC has grown to a current roster of 24 Cubs. Additionally, during this period, 10 Cubs have bridged to Troop 29, with the oldest one recently earning Eagle. That's good. Alice's aspirations to become the first girl from PAC-9 to achieve the rank of Eagle. PAC-9 is proud to be a part of the Valley Mar community. Through William and Beth's leadership, PAC-9 has been a place where children in kindergarten through 5th grade learn valuable lessons, build friendships, embark on exciting adventures, develop independence, experience personal accomplishments, and feel a true sense of community. William and Beth, you have definitely played a vital role in fostering these experiences, leaving a lasting impact on the youth scouts and their families. And for that, as the Board of Trustees and Superintendent of Pacifica School District, we thank you, extend our gratitude, and we'd like to extend to you and recognize you for all of your work and dedication. This certificate, Madam President. School District Board of Trustees and Superintendent present the Certificate of Appreciation awarded to Beth Kellerman. Thank you for your service and commitment to our students and staff. Awarded this 12th day of February 2025. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Pacifica School District Board of Trustees and Superintendent present the Certificate of Appreciation awarded to William Kellerman. Thank you for your service and commitment to our students and staff. Awarded this 12th day of February 2020.
I had my button away.
Ready?
Where do I start? I think the most important thing to say is that PAC-9 has been very proud to be part of the overall Pacifica community and proud to work with Valleymar and the students at Valleymar to achieve the goals of scouting, which are citizenship and leadership and personal development, personal fitness, and also to have a lot of fun. Our most recent activity was to go to the U.S. Coast Guard Air Station San Francisco, which I didn't even know existed until a coastie moved in next door. And the kids got to actually watch a helicopter mission land and take off, and then also got to sit in the cockpit, sit in the rear section of the helicopter and learn all about the activities that the Coast Guard do. So we continue to do those kinds of things, and we continue to look forward to working with Valleymar and the youth in Pacifica to do great things. And thank you very much for this award. Really appreciate it. Oh, fun.
I don't have much to add except for usually when we go to our PAC meetings, I'm coming straight from work and often am like, I'm so tired. It's a Friday night and I would really like to just rest. However, we get to the meetings and we see these kids' faces, we see them light up, and we are so energized. And hours later, we're talking about every single scout that that progressed that evening. And it's just been a true silver lining on our lives. And it's a pleasure to watch our grandchildren going through the program too. So I highly recommend scouting to any parent who wants to give their kids the best possible experience and ability to learn what it's like to contribute to your community.
And final, before you leave, one remaining recognition from Scouting America, Pacific Skyline Council 031. William Bill has been involved with the Scouts as a leader, beginning with his son in PAC-9 and Troop 29, rejoining PAC-9 to lead his grandson, what a legacy, through the program. He is also active in the district by attending roundtables. This is where leaders get additional training and scouting information from the district. The Pacific Skyline Council congratulates Bill for your recognition this evening from Pacifica School Board and for your dedication to your community. On behalf of the Pacific Skyline Council, Tom Kinney, Director of Support Services. Thank you. Thank you. Put your name and you can have them go back.
Oh, okay, we're gonna go ahead with communications.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Communications, LSEA? Communications, LSEA?
As expected, it has been a very busy 3 weeks attending to various matters of our union members in our district. We spent Monday, January 27th, negotiating the impacts of the co-location and restructure plan on our unit members. We have since sent a very comprehensive MOU proposal to the district and expect to have some conversation with the district team before we meet at the table again on March 3rd. While next week is a week off from school, your LSEA leadership is available to communicate and keep working during the time off to support our members. Many of our site union leaders have had to take on the challenging role of attending meetings with members as they are informed of their status of employment for next year. Much, unfortunately, is still up in the air. While we want the district to be thoughtful with this process, we urge them to move swiftly so we can ensure our members know where they will be staffed next year. Teachers are planners, and this vagueness and uncertainty is a challenge. Every day of uncertainty is another day we may lose strong teachers to a neighboring district. Tonight, you will be voting to approve many cuts to our certificated staff. We are frustrated with the process. While we may understand the complexities of cutting and rehiring, it challenges morale in a current period of great turmoil in our district. It is no secret we are among the lowest paid in the county. You can work here for 27 years, have a master's degree, and still not make $100,000. Having stability in our job assignments and knowing where our classrooms will be from year to year is one of the perks of being in this district. That's in flux this year like never before. We have an entire school site and a half unaware of where they will be day to day next year. Solidifying staffing and classroom location specifics is a no-cost way to retain teachers. Tonight, we will see candidates go through the process of interview and selection for the one school board seat we have available. I know many applied to make it to this step. While only one person will be selected this evening, we do have an election in the fall of 2026 for 3 seats. It'll be here before we know it. Perhaps people who are interested come to school board meetings, gain visibility at school events, and reach out to labor partners. One of the comments I read this week from a parent or community member online said, "We weren't paying attention then, but now we are." That's great. Keep it up. Please continue to remain involved even when contentious issues are not on the table. Besides the representation of our union members in the co-location and restructuring work that is going on, LSEA leadership has been working with many members around safety in the classroom. Fortunately, this article is currently open in negotiations. Tonight, the school safety plans are on the agenda, and we have interest in these plans and their actual impacts, along with the lack of follow-through with some portions of the plan in regard to student conduct and teacher safety. Yesterday, I spent a full day at the CTA headquarters in Burlingame with other local presidents from San Mateo County. I always enjoy these meetings as we are good sounding boards for each other, and I always walk away with some good ideas for our own local and ways to improve our bargain and negotiations. We look forward to meeting again on March 3rd and coming to a resolution on our MOU. Thank you.
Thank you, CSEA.
It's hard following you. Good evening, board members, superintendent, and guests. Tonight, I speak to you on behalf of our dedicated classified employees as we navigate a new and challenging process for many of us: relocations, layoffs, and reductions in hours. This has been a learning experience for us. Sorry, I went off script. Particularly as we've worked to understand procedures such as displacement rights and other complex elements of staffing adjustments. Throughout this process, our highest hope has been that we would not lose any of our valued classified employees. These individuals are the backbone of our schools, playing essential roles in the daily experiences of students and families. In conversations with HR, we understand that the goal of these changes is to share resources across the district and ultimately save money. We recognize the Black and white financial reality that often drives these decisions. However, as we continue making these difficult choices, we urge you to keep one guiding question at the forefront. What is the best interest of students and families? This one sentence is what we repeatedly said during the committee meetings. We are particularly concerned about the elimination of the school secretary position at Ocean Shore School. The decision impacts not only Ocean Shore, but also Sunset Ridge, as the transition will bring a significant increase in students and families to the school. Maintaining the secretary position is crucial to ensuring a smooth transition, preserving familiarity for families and the community, and supporting the administrative needs of a growing school population. We ask that you consider a transitional approach, keeping the Ocean Shore secretary in place for at least a year to collaborate with the Sunset Ridge secretary. This teamwork would help ensure a smoother transition and better support for school communities. The planned co-location of the two schools on one campus is going to require additional experienced office staff, and we strongly believe the approach would better serve the students and families impacted by these changes. As we work to enhance our middle school programs, we also we must ensure that we have the necessary support to accommodate their growing student population. This includes potential additions to administrative staff, counseling staff, office staff, and campus supervisors. These roles are essential to the success of the transition and the overall growth of our student body. Now I'm going to go on a totally separate note. In cleaning the office, I found this book. This booklet that was created in 2000 by then Superintendent Michelle Garside, which gave the history of the Pacifica School District from 1861, it starts, up until 2000 when this was published. It was very interesting, and I actually made a copy for each of you, and it's in Barbara's box. And I made some copies if anybody else is interested. It's a good read. Okay, so as we reflect on the history of this district, we are reminded that it is not the first time hard decisions have had to be made. In preparing for tonight, we found this book commemorating 50 years of the Pacifica School District, published in 2000. It offers a sobering look at the many challenges we faced over the years. From 1950 to 1968, 11 schools were built to meet the growing enrollment. By 1969, the first budget cutbacks led to elimination of assistant principals, resource teachers, and school nurses. We're the school nurses, the school secretaries now. More reductions followed, including the closure of several schools throughout the 1970s and 1980s. By 1985, enrollment declined by 60%, from a high of 10,000 students in 1969 to just under 4,000. I was like crazy. These difficult moments underscore the resilience of this district and the community that supports it. Yet sadly, enrollment trends have not improved, and it appears we must once again navigate similar challenges. To the Board of Trustees and Superintendent, we recognize the difficulty of your role. You are tasked with making decisions that are not always popular, but are made with the intention of serving the best interests of the district as a whole. For that, we extend our sincere gratitude. We may not always agree, we may not always agree, but we respect and appreciate your dedication and thoughtful deliberation. As we move forward, we hope that collaboration and creative problem solving will continue to guide us in supporting both our staff and the students and families who rely on us. And now our above and beyond. Our above and beyond winners for February 2025 are Jeanette Hoffman, a TK paraprofessional at Ortega, and Enid Zimmerman, RSP paraprofessional at Valamar. Jeanette Hoffman is a TK paraprofessional at Ortega School. Jeanette is kind, caring, and helpful. The children in her TK classroom love her. Jeanette is always ready to jump in and help where needed. Jeanette has quickly become a beloved part of our Ortega community with her quick smile and sense of humor. Jeanette is also becoming known on campus for her amazing baking skills by sharing treats in our staff room. Enid Zimmerman is a very dedicated and very dependable classified employee who always shows up for the students that she works with. She cares deeply for the students she serves and is committed to their growth and education. Enid served most of her time at Ortega School and has recently moved to Valamar School, where she serves upper grade students receiving RSP services. CSEA Chapter 128 is proud of all of our above and beyond recipients. Our classified employees are dedicated, hardworking people who care about our students, our schools, our district, and our community. CSEA will continue to shine a spotlight on Pacifica School District's wonderful classified employees. We believe that the hard work, the dedication, and the contribution of our valued classified employees should be celebrated and rewarded. Union proud, union strong. Thank you.
Okay, student board representatives? Oh, not here, okay. People wishing to address the board? I have Michael West. The Valimar banner.
You can hear me? Okay.
There.
Alright. So I emailed the board before the January 22nd meeting, warning the families leaving the district's annually budget crisis if they close Ocean Shore. I saw the kindergarten enrollment and it looks like you may be heading that path. So quick quote, an evil man will burn his own nation to the ground to rule over its ashes. But you didn't invite us here tonight to this meeting to listen to us. You invited us here just to clear another check mark on your required check boxes to close our school. We're here to provide you another check mark for that list, and this whole production is disingenuous. You don't give us the respect we deserve, and we just process our data and your desired outcomes through ChatGPT, and then you don't even proofread your own responses. You do not intend to listen to us tonight, and you're moving ahead no matter what.
Okay, the next person is Tara Knotts.
Open the microphone.
Okay, I'm an inch from it, but okay. Tara Knotts?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, go. If you re-listen to the March meeting, I and several others asked for greater communication from the board and from the district office staff. We also asked for attention to mental health. I stated many times in the budget collaborative that the community needed to hear things presented at the budget collaborative. I stated that because you needed to hear things from the community as you presented the information at the budget collaboratives. People needed to hear that stuff. A lot of that was paid for, but with public dollar, and I think the community had a right to listen to that then and there. When I asked for greater communication, I was told that that was left up to the principals, but I knew that wasn't working in part because PTOs don't have meetings all that often, or they do, they're not well attended. The principals didn't necessarily have a chance to talk to the community unless they knew to organize extra meetings to talk about the information at the budget collaborative. But anyway, we all thought we were doing okay. I think we all left in the spring thinking we saved $1.5 million with the cuts last year, and we're going to save another $1.4 million this coming year. I don't know what happened. That's $3 million, and yet we're being told that we're still in a $3 million deficit. You probably know, but it doesn't make sense to me. I think it doesn't make sense to the community, and that is part of the frustration. The other part of this frustration is we were told that it would take more time if we were going to really do a site consolidation to get community feedback. We all thought that. There was a slide on it. We all said it would take 1 to 2 years with full community, not just a room of 30 people. That didn't happen. You've made a plan change. I assume I know why, but it's confusing. People are mad because they're confused and surprised. I think we all know that all the kids and all the community and all the teachers are amazing. And we could work together if we were given time, and we weren't given a time. And that is why we are in a bad spot. And I just wish we could press do over. This retrospective communication doesn't feel very good. And it's continuing. And if you have these small group meetings, again, I don't think you can have groups with 20 to 40 people and think it expresses the information of the community to and from you. Please, I encourage you, board, make sure the district office communicates to and from the people, the district office themselves, not just the principals. Thank you.
Okay, Valerie Davidson.
I'm a parent of former students of Ocean Shore School. We've heard about legacy and history, and I want to just say that Ocean Shore School has a history in this community, and it continued to provide a legacy from parents who went on from being parents of students to being either teachers or active members in the community. I am feeling that the decision has been rushed, and this has provided so much angst in the community and dismay. Ocean Shore, it hasn't been the first time it's been targeted for closure. it's a small program, it's a unique program. How it can be classified as a traditional program, I don't know how that classification ever came out. But in providing unique programs and choice in this district, from K through 8 to the unique program that Ocean Shore is, to a unique middle school, it provided choice. It brings people into the community. It helps people stay in community. It provides support from people who are no longer got students in the school district to support the bond measures that you rely on to cover some of the expenses. I appreciate you're in a tight spot, but Ocean Shore School has shown that it can be creative too. Keep the K through 8 program together, and you'll see it can share sites, it can provide as rich an environment as it provided for my kids, who are now 30 and 32. Please reconsider, sit down with the community. Let's work on a solution that might make sense. And in regards to the small meetings, I attended one, I appreciated it. I would like feedback from it, but I'm frustrated beyond, I want this district to succeed. Thank you.
Okay, Sean Holly.
Hello. Can everyone hear me okay? All right. I'm going to start with a saying and I'm going to paraphrase it. I'm going to change from he to they. And I'm going to tell you that they who trouble their own house shall inherit the wind. When I was at the meeting on the 22nd, I was flabbergasted by the way that you responded to community members. I was infuriated. And I thought about what the problem really is here. And that is that you've made up your minds already, right? And within the last 30 days, what is the result? There is now an active campaign to recall every single one of you. You hear that? It's called a recall. Money has been generated in a matter of hours to fund these efforts. Now you're being sued and you'll probably lose. And my question to you is, rather than creating this situation where these kinds of things have to be brought in, why don't you try again? It's a simple thing to do. When I'm wrong, I say I'm wrong and I try again. You're not doing that. You're putting lipstick on a pig. And I'm here to tell you that it's not going to work. And just now, how much do you guys enjoy knowing that almost everyone in the community wants you gone through the recall effort? What do you think about all those resources that the school district is going to spend on the court case that's been brought against you because of the way you've behaved? It's beyond ridiculous. And I would urge any of you to take a deep breath, step back, and try again, but this time with the community. Okay? Not two parents, everybody. I can't stress how important that is, but again, who knows? Someone mentioned in 226 that they're going to do another vote. Well, maybe you'll be gone before then. And you'll have yourselves to blame for it because you were hard-hearted, inconsiderate, rude, condescending, and outright mean. And it's not something that the community appreciates, and it's certainly something I don't appreciate.
Do we have any speakers online? For non-agenda items?
No.
No. Okay. Now correspondence. Any correspondence? Since the last meeting, I have attended Ortega's PTO meeting. Prior to the meeting, I requested a list of items they pay for or plan to pay for the school year. On that list was repairing asphalt, which sounded more appropriate for the district. So I passed my concern on to Dr. Williams and CC Meng. Also, thanks to Trustee Brocchini, we visited Senator Mark Berman. We discussed the county inequities in LCFF school funding and asked for change. One change suggested was funding districts on enrollment, not ADA or a higher COLA. Currently, if a student is absent from school, the district doesn't receive funding due to the absent, excused, or unexcused. This is unfair since the district is still responsible for paying that student's teacher and staff. Another item discussed was the inequities in programming for districts who are the lowest funded, us, versus the schools that receive higher property taxes. And one example is the difference between Pacifica School District and Woodside is $20,000 per student. My perception of the meeting is that nobody is really looking at this inequity, and we need to keep lobbying for change. LCFF was supposed to address inequity, but it made it worse, in my opinion. And thank you for Trustee Brocchini for setting up the appointment. I also attended the budgetary overview and update on co-location. And finally, I'm disheartened to relay to you that I had to file a police report because I received an intimidating and/or threatening email from a parent of our Ocean Shore community. The email caused concern for my family, their safety, and their peace in their own home. In light of this, I'd like to share the other point of view of some community members without mentioning their names. Hi all, I've been following the drama of the very tough decision you have had to make about the budget crisis, school relocation problem you will vote on 122 on the Pacifica Locals Facebook site. Lots of good information and also a lot of scare tactics. School relocation closure will never be an easy topic to address. As a parent, we went through the same thing years ago when Odsted and Lindemar schools merged into Ortega. My daughter started at Odsted, then finished at Ortega, then on to IBL. Not fun at the time, but it had to be done. I think your plan to relocate is sound. The Ocean Shore parents are being selfish and not respecting the needs of the whole district. Something needs to be done now to get the budget straightened out. And if closing some schools due to fewer students is the best answer, then it must be done. My wife and I are both retired school teachers. I personally have never liked the K-8 model used at 3 schools in the district. I think the middle school experience much better prepares students for the high school where multiple subjects are taught by different teachers. I am no longer a parent of a school-age child. Both my children graduated from PSD schools. My son in the last graduating class of Ortega Middle School, but have a vested interest in PSD as a taxpayer, voter, and supporter of public education. Whatever decision you make tonight and how you vote will not be liked by the whole community, but please make your decision based on what you think is best for the whole district. The topic needs no more study or discussion. That is one. Well, that's their perspective.
Yeah. We're skewed that
Dear Trustee Villalobos, I hope this letter finds you well. I'm writing to you as a parent of a 6th and 8th grader and a former board member in a school district in Southern California. As you well know, Pacifica School District, along with many other school districts, have faced a series of unprecedented challenges in the past decade, including declining enrollment numbers and COVID. Despite PSD's efforts to avoid such a step, the reality is that the district and school board trustees must make a decision that ensures financial stability of the district moving forward. I know how difficult it is to have to make this decision. I was a school board member at, I redacted it, a neighboring unified school district when the state took over Compton Unified School District. I can tell you that the community in Compton wished that these types of difficult decisions had been made. State control does not serve the interests of the local community. I want to express my gratitude to you and the district for taking part in a process that allowed for stakeholder input and utilized current district data as well as projections from the state. The recommendation, while not popular and very personal to the families being directly impacted by it, allows for Ocean Shore to continue its K-5 program. It also allows the district to preserve and invest in the quality of education that all PSD students deserve. I hope that it also allows the district to adequately compensate certificated and classified staff. Although you are likely hearing from the vocal and upset families at Ocean Shore and Valleymar, middle grades, there are many families who are not as outspoken that understand this is a difficult decision that must be made. Thank you for your courage and commitment to providing each and every student in Pacifica with a high-quality education and for ensuring that this district is financially solvent moving forward. With gratitude. The next one's very short. I hope this email finds you well. I'm sending a note of support for approving the proposed plan for moving middle school from Ocean Shore and Valleymar to IBL and moving Ocean Shore Elementary to Sunset Ridge. I appreciated how the team walked through the information on Saturday the 11th. PSD is in a unique position to still be able to make decisions. Inaction at this point removes the ability of PSD to determine its fate. These decisions are unpopular and unwelcome, but necessary. I continue to reach out to people to ensure they have the correct information, but seems the sensationalizing of things has become the loudest voice. I encourage you to stay the course despite how unhappy some people may be. This is in the best interest of all PSD students now and in the future. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you for noting that we had a meeting with Mark Berman. We're going to continue meeting with various elected officials, try to get more money and an equitable amount of money to Pacifica. I think our next stop's the San Mateo County Board. I also have had several meetings with Dr. Williams last few weeks and have heard from lots of constituents. I brought these books here if anyone would like one for their children. It's called Who Moved My Cheese for kids. I think it kind of addresses a little bit of what's going on here in the school district. And I won't go into that, but these are for anyone that would like to have one. They're for the community. I am sorry that there is so much angst and anger in this district. Just so you know, I'm the rookie on the team. I've been on the school board for 5 years. I'm a music education major. Both of my kids went through Pacifica schools. I've been at 4 of the schools in the school district. We've been here for a long time. We've heard concerns for a very long time, and we are just looking for solutions. I understand the anger and I understand the angst. I would just try to, I don't want to give anybody recommendations, but just try to reflect on making sure that your kids are taken care of and in their space. So then when they show up at school, they're ready to learn and we have amazing teachers here to teach them. So please try to refocus back on making this the best environment for the children. Because really that's who's being impacted by all this really negative energy that's going on. And thank you. Anyway, so I think that's it for me, but I just want to I want you guys to know we've been listening and we've been listening for a very long time. And we're trying to do the best we can up here at this position. So thank you.
Okay, I attended the LSEA Board Collaborative meeting. I also had my meeting with Dr. Williams. I too have received a lot of support emails. I'm not going to read them, but I thank those community members who are paying attention and who are sending their words of support to us. I wish you guys would come to these meetings so that people can see that there are other people who are in support of the decisions that the board has made. But I appreciate all the support emails that have come to me. I also unfortunately had to make a police report because of the threatening emails and the threatening behavior from some community members. And I don't think that that's the normal behavior of most people, but just so you guys are aware that, yeah, you can be upset and you can be angry, but it's not okay to threaten public officials. That's not acceptable behavior. It puts our families in stress. So we're doing a job. It's a hard job, but being upset, yeah, be upset. But sending threatening emails or harassing members of the cabinet or people who are harassing the superintendent, that's not okay. So please talk to your family. Make sure that we're on good behavior. We're setting examples for our children. And the fact that we both had to file police reports is sad. Thanks.
Okay, I attended the Pacifica Collaborative meeting with Dr. Williams also, and the LSCA President's meeting. And also received a lot of the same emails. Dr. Williams?
Good evening, everyone. I too attended the Pacifica Collaborative meeting. In addition to PTO budget meeting at Ocean Shore, in addition to a host of meetings with community members, also with board members. I also have received a number of requests in regards to the action that was taken on January 22nd. I've also received some requests and some encouragement to move forward. What I do want to share with the community is that it is a difficult situation. It is a difficult decision to make. I do think that we are stronger together. And while we may disagree, let's be mindful that our kids are watching us. And what we demonstrate how we can get through tough times is what they're going to remember. And that's what they're going to take with them. And I do believe that we can get through it. Pacifica School District is a wonderful place. We are in a situation, again, where the financial situation didn't start yesterday. It didn't start last year. It has been persistent. And many boards have tried to address it. We've gone over the historical actions that have been taken. We have met with folk, and while you might disagree, everyone is entitled to their perspective. But I think one thing that we can all agree on, and that is we want the best for kids. We want to have a nurturing environment where they can thrive, where they're safe, where you know that you have staff members who are going to nurture and love on your children. And that is what we are going to continue to provide for our students. And so I continue to invite us to engage together in ways that elevate us and elevate our district, and then also find ways that we can measure our responses so that we don't have the negative responses. And when I mean negative, not a different perspective, but a way where it's threatening, where it's a way that it is not necessarily reflective of the compassion that we all deserve and the humanity that we all deserve. And so I'm looking forward to moving forward and continuing to engage in dialogue with all of you. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go on to action item 12B. I'm going to give the instructions and then have the speakers.
Yeah.
Okay. So for the provisional trustee interview selection, we welcome and thank the candidates for their interest in serving the students of our school district by applying for this provisional appointment to the Board of Trustees. Rachel Reimer has withdrawn her application. The remaining candidates, Dawn Burdette and Bridget Hart, will be interviewed individually in public. The order of interviews will be determined by drawing the name. The candidate not being interviewed will be escorted to the room outside of the boardroom. The interviews will consist of the board members taking turns asking the candidates questions in a series of questions for which the candidates are allotted 2 minutes per question to respond. After the second interview is concluded, the second interviewee will be escorted to a room outside of the boardroom, at which time the board will deliberate and vote to select and appoint a provisional trustee. After the selection is made and the appointment voted on, the candidates will be brought back into the boardroom and the selected candidate will be sworn in by the board president, given all powers and duties of a board member, and immediately take their seat on the dais for the remainder of the meeting. And we have some speakers. We'll do that with both of them in here. Okay. Pam Dzenski.
Good evening, Superintendent Williams and Board of Trustees. Thank you for your work. Just a comment on school closures. I'm a Pacifica resident here, and I've been in the field of public education for 25 years. And I know that the school closures throughout our state are just, like wrecking balls to our local communities, and really based on a model of scarcity, and it pits us against one another. So just want to encourage our community to continue to think about the root causes of the issue, and continue to engage in dialogue. On that note, I am here this evening to express my strong support for Mr. Don Burdette as a candidate for Pacifica School Board of Trustees. Mr. Burdette is somebody I've known for the past decade. He is a dedicated father, community member, teacher, and he just brings a wealth of experience and unique perspective to benefit our school district. He has spent decades, literally decades, as a classroom teacher and demonstrates an unwavering commitment to providing just an outstanding learning environment for his students. He advocates for all students, no matter what their background, no matter what obstacles they face, and he will be an invaluable asset to this board. So I encourage you to strongly consider his application. Be proud that you have people like Mr. Burdette who are interested in joining this effort to support our public schools. Thank you.
Okay. Tara Knotts.
We good?
Okay.
Is that good?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. Regarding the potential candidates, I have considered being a board member of either the school or the city or something on a county position or even a nonprofit. And I have wondered about what it's like to be in your shoes, to have to make hard decisions, ones that are not the majority are in favor of. And I know it's not easy. You have to, and if I were you, I would, of course, ask for lots of facts. I would weigh a lot of things. I would ask hard questions. I would do them in a public format. I believe you are not allowed to discuss with each other as board members on this outside. If you're going to have a discussion, it has to be in a public format. And I'm always surprised when I don't hear like really deep questions, a deep dive. And it's not that you haven't thought of them, it's just not expressed in a board setting. So when we have new board members, I am hoping that we have some people that are a little more forthcoming with their questions, because you all have good thoughts. And I think the public would benefit from hearing your thoughts. And again, it might help bridge the gap between people. I'm so happy we have good candidates. Bridget, she is well aware of some, you know, the budget stuff, working on the bond and the parcel and PTO, and she's, you know, on the ground. She sees a wide range of needs in our district, and she has a young kid, which of course your perspective changes as your child ages, but you know, she has a wide net of people that she's interacting with. And as the former previous speaker just said, Don, he has got such a wealth of experience. His resume speaks for itself. He has kids, lots of kids. He's in education. He's a teacher. He's been in a union. He's union lead. He's a Pacifican. And I wonder, since he grew up here, had he been on the board when we were making these hard decisions, would he make sure that the new cabinet, who does not know Pacifica, really got to know Pacifica before they made the directional decisions that they had to make, or at least in the time frame? I think people had to have known that this would have been a big issue. And it seems like, you know, the K-8s are the ones that are most care about the big change, potentially. I think it seems like people know the K-8s are important and school choice and lottery is important in this district. I am surprised that didn't come up, and maybe new board members can bring that lens. Thank you.
Okay, Sandy Mills.
I'm now changing my hat to be Jean Brink, former Jefferson Union High School board member, who writes, I first met Donald 47 years ago when his mother, I don't think you lived more than 48, when his mother began babysitting my two children who attended Pacific Manor Elementary School. When Donald was at Oceana High School, he was very active in several groups, and I met him as a young adult when he helped with a project in the Jefferson Union High School District. I feel he would make an excellent board member for the Pacifica School District because of his involvement with educational issues at the community, county, and state levels. Sincerely, Jean Brink, former Jefferson Union High School board member.
Okay, I think we have someone online. Okay. We'll do one while we wait in person. Christine Fagan.
I'm not going to speak.
Christine's not, or we're calling her? Okay. So we're just waiting for the one online. Okay. We'll need to go ahead if we can't locate her.
Michelle, are you there?
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and draw the name for the first interviewee. I have to do that. Oh, Bridget Hart will be the first one to go. Now, board members, in the past, what we've done to keep it fair is we each read one of the questions. We go down the line. You read it as written. You don't elaborate or add in other questions so that it stays fair to the others, unless it's something specific follow-up that we would maybe then ask the other person also. And so we'll go down the line and you'll have 2 minutes to respond for each question. Okay. Yep. Write notes.
Thank you very much.
Write notes or look at notes?
My application essentially. Yes. Am I?
Oh.
I didn't mind. Am I allowed to look
Can
at my
she look at her
application while we do?
application?
Glad we went over that.
Okay. So I'll do question number 1. What do you see as the basic purpose of public schools? What is the role of the governing board in fulfilling that purpose?
So public schools are really important. They serve the public. The point of public schools is to educate kids who are going to grow into adults that are in the public. So there's a very intricate, complex system that's in place to make sure that our public schools are functioning like a well-oiled machine. The role of the governing board in fulfillment of that purpose is to look at the big picture and think about our district's mission and make sure that everything happening within those schools is in line with what our shared goals are. That's my answer to number one.
Describe your experience managing a budget and please provide specific examples.
So I volunteer as treasurer of Sunset Ridge Parent Teacher Organization. And I started that role with very little budgeting experience, and I've learned a lot, and the more I learn, I feel like the less I know, because budgets are really complicated, especially when you don't know what the revenue is going to be in the future and what expenses are going to come up. So for me, it's really important that I understand everything that I'm looking at, or if I'm trying to make a plan, I want to make sure that I understand all the details of the plan. And it helps me personally to create something so that there's a visual. So there's let's see, sorry. Specific examples. So for the parent teacher organization, I would say I've done a really good job balancing the budget. I mean, at the beginning of the year, we create a budget and we raise money throughout the year to spend, and we have done a really good job spending the amount that we plan to spend and raising the amount that we plan to raise. I'm very interested in budgets and learning more, which is why I've been part of the budget collaborative meetings. I think that the information is really, there's so much to digest, and it's like a puzzle to try to get everything figured out. That's my answer for number two. I'm nervous. I'm sorry. Can I get some water? Please.
If it makes you feel better, both Linda and I were in your position a few years ago, doing the same thing. We did the interview in front of everyone. So you're doing okay. Just hang in there.
Thanks.
All right, next question. Please share a time when you had to make a difficult decision at work. What was the outcome?
I'm going to think about this one for a minute. I've been making a lot of really difficult decisions at work lately, but there hasn't been enough time to see an outcome. So I'm trying to think of a different example. We've had to make some very difficult decisions in the PTO. Our budget isn't very big. We raise $60,000 a year, and it's a huge effort to raise that money, and deciding what to do with that money is really hard. I would say, the best way we have come to solutions is by working together as a team and getting input from everybody involved. And always bringing it back to our mission.
See as the strengths of our school district.
So when my kids started in this district as a kindergartner, the reputation of the board was that they do a lot with a little, and I didn't know what that meant at first. I think that it's a struggle when money is sparse. It's a struggle to function, to survive, and then also to thrive. And I think that I think our district has done a good job keeping it together for the most part. Or I think that our community is really strong and our community is really determined to to um, to provide for the students. I think that our community, for the most part, things have been a little bit different recently, but backs each other up. I feel like this is a really supportive community, and the school district brings everybody together. I mean, all of our kids are in the school district, and I think that having a strong community is everything, because it takes teamwork to find solutions. It takes input and it takes feedback and criticism. And having a strong community is what gets you to the finish line.
What do you see as the primary role of a trustee? How would you fulfill that role, both individually and as a member of the governing board?
So the way the schools are set up in the system that's in place, there are several different groups, starting with the kids. Like, they're the whole reason that the system is in place. And the kids are blindly following very closely the teachers. And then every day there's a new day, and the school is cleaned and the books are put away. And that's because there's staff that take care of that. And then those two groups have principals that manage their work and oversee their work. And then there's the district cabinet that kind of makes sure that what's happening at the schools is relevant. So the superintendent is in charge of all of that. I feel like the superintendent is leading the way, and the board is making sure that, like, the board is checking in with all the groups of people, including parents of the children that are at the schools. And making sure that the superintendent who's leading the way is acting with integrity and intention for the shared goal. When there's a mission statement and policies in place, it's very clear how things should be going, really. And I think that the primary role of a trustee is to make sure that everybody is moving in the right direction. As a member of the governing board, I will work to learn everything that I can about processes of the system. I want to know how everything works. I want to know the inner mechanics, and I want to know what we have the power to do. And I'm excited for the potential to work together. So by having all the knowledge, having all the knowledge is how I plan to fulfill that role.
What would you like to accomplish as a board member, and which of those accomplishments is your highest priority and why?
As a board member, let's see, something I would like to accomplish is kind of putting into place a digestible message to the community about what's going on with the school finances particularly. Something else I want to accomplish is just kind of building relationships with all of the different groups that are part of the school district, and learning how to take feedback really, and I really want to see this relocation of students go smoothly, and I think that's probably the highest priority.
All right, what do you see as the areas most needing improvement in our school district?
Communication, I think, is something that the community would really like to see. And I know that there is a lot of communication from the school district. And I know that there's a lot of information available on the website, but I think it could be improved. A little modernization of the communication would be good. Some easy to digest information for people, even though it's really complicated.
How would you work with members of the governing board to address our district's financial challenges?
This is something that I feel I've been practicing already. Since I started learning about like our PTO budget, it really sparked some questions for me about why why PTOs were so important and why they were so heavily relied on to even provide the most basic needs for the kids. Like, it didn't make any sense. So I started digging, and my interest grew bigger and bigger. I kind of made it my life's purpose last year to increase revenue for the board. For the district, for our schools. And I did that by campaigning, leading the campaign for Measure G, and working with others to campaign for Measure EE. And this is something that I want to continue doing. I really felt inspired when I heard that you went to talk to Mark Berman. I think that's really exciting. And there's just, working with members of the governing board, I think that the process for that is already in place, and I look forward to really embracing it and having more conversations about what we can do to really make a lasting change and not just constantly be struggling. It's tedious. It's totally unfair. Mhm.
Just describe your response if a parent cornered you in the grocery store and asked for your support on a particularly hot issue. What if the issue was one you had not heard about yet, but that had been reported or discussed on social media?
Well, if a parent came to me in the grocery store upset about something that I have already seen information about on social media, it's tricky because what I would do today is different than what I would do if I was on the board. Today, I mean, today I have a tendency to be very agreeable, really just smile and nod if somebody is trying to share something with me that I don't have information about. But I know that as a board member, it's important to have integrity and always remember that you are acting on behalf of the board. So, I would be mindful of that. I also understand that there are social media. Um, it's really difficult when there's a hot topic and conversations about it are happening on social media because um, it's really hard to change somebody's mind. If the information is there in the first place, then it's different to form somebody's opinion, like, or to kind of like give somebody information so they can form an opinion. But once there's talk about it on social media, I think it's really hard to change somebody's mind. So anyways, I think it's important to listen. And I think that something that I would do is ask to continue the conversation later so I can have time to process the information and learn more about it before revisiting it.
Describe how you would balance the following when deciding how to vote on a matter before the board: community concerns, student needs, state and federal law, staff recommendations, and your personal values and beliefs.
How would I balance the following when deciding how to vote on a matter before the board? I feel like this, let me think. State and federal law definitely seems like priority here. I think that looking at the board policies would come into play. Something I appreciate about the system is that there aren't really meant to be surprises on the agenda where you're expected to vote on something without having all the information already. But I understand that some things are really difficult. I think that obviously state and federal law would be priority. And student needs would come next. It feels like a given. The options are community concerns, student needs, state and federal law, staff recommendations, and your personal values and beliefs. Student needs are the priority, right? We're a school district. The students are number one, and making sure that they have everything they need from a public school is hands down what should be at the forefront of the conversation. All of the students.
All right, thank you. That was the last question.
Okay, thanks.
Bridget, you have to go out. Hmm. Hmm. They locked him in a closet somewhere? Jeez. I forgot where he was. Might fold off and Jeez.
It's so warm in here.
Okay. Yeah, so, well, okay. Yes, so what we're gonna do is we have questions, we're gonna read them and go one down the line. We'll be reading the same questions that we asked Bridget, in the same order. Yeah, 2 minutes for your answer. All right, the first question. What do you see as the basic purpose of public schools? What is the role of the governing board in the fulfillment of that purpose?
Hey, there we go. I can hear myself better too. So this is from the perspective of a teacher of 33 plus years. Whenever I start, it's not working? Okay. Whenever I start a school year, it's my goal to reach every student in the class, in every class. And sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's hard. But I'd like to think that I'm part of that team of staff, teachers and faculty that gets everybody. There's an assessment period, you figure out what they need and you take care of them. And it never ends. I'm in the spring semester, I'm still trying to figure out how to take care of some students. So the goal of education is to reach everybody. And then the second part was about at the higher levels.
What is the role of the governing board and the fulfillment of that purpose? I think you have the questions right in front of you.
Oh, there you go. Perfect. So the governing board is ultimately responsible for everything that happens. And so the governing board chooses a superintendent, and the superintendent is in the trenches and is working with the public and responding to everything. It's a very tough job. The governing board follows along, sets the vision, makes sure the vision is being held to, and seeks information, asks a lot of questions, listens a lot, and then makes really consequential decisions. That's a process that doesn't stop when a decision is made. It's a process that continues. The superintendent's still in the trenches. The governing board continues to listen and gather information and respond accordingly. And I hope to be an active person in that process. It doesn't end.
Okay. Describe your experience managing a budget and please provide specific examples.
Well, my experience with budgets and economics starts with me being a graduate from Stanford with a BA in economics. I've been in, for the bulk of my career, because I've taught every class in the social science department. For the bulk of my career, I was teaching economics and U.S. government. Um, I was also the union president. I became the union president for my district because for 3 years in a row, the teachers were given a 0%. There was an entrenched union, a bunch of old dudes that like seemed to be okay with that. I was a young whippersnapper and like decided to challenge the group, and the first election it was a tie. I campaigned harder. I won. And I like led protest activities. I organized the teachers. Organizing the teachers means communicating with the parents. They were on board. We got a 7% that year, and we haven't gotten a 0% since. So I'm very familiar with district budgets. As the union president, I was part of the process of managing a negotiation team regarding every aspect of the budget. I've been involved with grant writing and other aspects of earning money for a district. It's been a big part of my career.
Okay, please share a time when you had to make a difficult decision at work. What was the outcome?
I mean, it seems like every day there's a little bit of a difficult decision, right? A difficult decision at work. I've like throughout my career, I've had to like I've consistently been put in the position where I have to choose if I'm going to like put myself on the line to be an advocate for change or just put up with like the way things are. And consistently, I've been the person that raises their hand in the meeting, maybe causes a little bit of trouble, maybe breaks some rules, but is willing to put himself on the line to try and make a difference. There have been times, like over the course of any institution, where there's some decisions that have been made that I disagree with. I'm willing to put myself out there as a person trying to make change, but then I'm also the kind of person that like tries to listen to everybody and bring everybody together. So it's been kind of a consistent theme, but I think if you talk to people that know me very well, like the speaker that spoke earlier today, I'm now I'm kind of an old mentor. I'm respected in the community. Teachers come to me for advice. I try and teach them to be a little bit of a gadfly themselves, to protect themselves. I'm helping them with their difficult decisions. It hasn't all been a smooth process, but I'm okay with a non-smooth process. The goal is to make sure if something needs to get changed, it gets changed.
What do you see as the strengths of our school district?
Diversity. I love Pacifica. So just the fact that it's Pacifica is fantastic. I'm a child of Pacifica. Went to Pacifica schools, went to Pacific Manor School back in the day, which is 2 blocks away from my family home where I currently live. Went to Oceana. Diversity and choice. When my family has had, our kids have been at Sunset Ridge and at Ocean Shore. We were lucky to have Miss Ryan for TK, and we're lucky to have the teachers at Ocean Shore. Ocean Shore was a choice for us, and it was beautiful to look around the district, tour a bunch of sites, and figure out where we belonged. As we move forward, I'm hoping that we can maintain that choice. I know Pacifica and I know Pacificans, and Pacificans have struggled with lots of issues over the course of our history here. Whether it's choosing whether to develop a quarry, choosing whether to restructure schools. When I was at Oceana, that was a major political issue. I was involved as a young student protesting stuff and speaking in front of boards back then. Pacificans can deal with tough issues, Pacificans don't shy away from that. We gather together, we contribute our resources, and we, over the course of my life, we tend to do the right thing. And so I think I, like other Pacificans, are pretty used to making tough decisions and moving forward. I think I know how to do that. I know how to help people along. And I'm hoping to contribute that to the board.
What do you see as the primary role of a trustee? How would you fulfill that role, both individually and as a member of the governing board?
You know, when I first started as a teacher, I didn't plan on being a teacher. I planned on being a politician. I had worked in the state capitol, had a lot of experience with politics, won the California State Senate Fellowship Award, so I worked with local Senator Quentin Kopp, and it was a fantastic experience. So I went into teaching thinking, wow, it'd be great to get some teaching experience for a political career. Started teaching and fell in love with it. And so 33 years later, here I am. And so like the primary role of a trustee is to serve the people, to listen, to listen and to hear. I don't know if I can they sound like similar words, but they're both important, and react accordingly. I've already described the basic structure and the relationship between the superintendent and the board, and I understand that. But like there's a kind of like a reaching out that a proactive reaching out that like I think if when I'm on the board, I'm going to utilize to deal with other issues that come up going forward. Obviously, I'm stepping into this position, attempting to, where there's already a lot of stuff going on. And I don't, if I am chosen, I'm one vote. I'm not going to make a difference in you know, and I understand where we are. My goal is to move us forward. I understand the communities involved. I've heard the pain that you guys have expressed, and I've heard the pain that you guys have expressed. And I know that if we're like, as we move forward, if we're going to do our job, which is serve the kids, we need to be conscious of that pain. And like, we need to work to make sure that whatever this ends up being serves those kids, like I talked about earlier. If there's a bump in the road and things don't work out the way we've like planned for them to go forward, we'll have to deal with that too. And so it's my intention to be a vote that like listens to people, reacts proactively when possible, smooths things out so that we can better hear each other and try and do the best by our children.
Okay. What would you like to accomplish as a board member, and which of those accomplishments is your highest priority and why?
Well, I got a lot of stake in the game. I got, you know, 5 kids at like so many levels. I've got so many lenses I wear because I see, you know, through their eyes every day. You know, what I hope to accomplish, like all of you, is I want my kids to be happy. I want them to get a fantastic education. I want them to feel loved and safe. I want them to have wonderful friendships and wonderful memories, and I want a school district that I'm proud of as part of that. So what do I want to accomplish? You know, that's me looking long term. But like for right now, like I said, we're in a period where there's a lot of stuff going on, and I think we need somebody that can like come in with fresh eyes, not in a way to like tell people what to think, but to listen to people, listen to you guys, listen to everybody, and like try and like create a sense of everyone moving together, and like I said, living up to taking care of those kids. I think I have a skill set that I can like contribute to that like end. Pretty easy to talk to. As a teacher, I talk a lot. It really is a skill set that comes from the classroom. Like I said, I'm there every day. I've got to put on a show from the beginning of the day to the end of the day. It's a long day, especially when you have a board meeting afterwards. But like, I've got to serve everybody in that room. I think we can all wrap our head around how it's easy to do when you're talking about kids. It's the same thing when you're talking about the people in this room, when you're talking about parents, when you're talking about businesses and other stakeholders in the community. You got to talk to everybody, you got to serve them all. And so for me as a board member, whatever part I have to play in accomplishing that, that's the part I'm going to play.
All right, what do you see as the areas most needing improvement in our school district?
I mean, there's a bunch of different answers to that. Like from my personal experience, I'm a big advocate for special needs kids. I use the general term because when it comes to SPED, I worked consistently with special ed personnel for my classroom. I played every role involved, whether it's sitting in on countless IEPs, but also coming up with accommodations and being creative for my SPED students. I'm an advocate for universal design for learning. And so I'm trying to get teachers, I'm trying to get rid of that amygdala hijack that happens when a teacher has one of their policies challenged because there's a student that needs an accommodation and they see it as a challenge to their curriculum or to the structure of their class. So I'm the guy that's like, hey, we can do this. And I'll help you through the process. And when they come out of it, that's their new policy. So they're not hijacked anymore. I've got a kid that's special ed. Last year, there was a lapse in the services because of a lack of personnel. And it took a long time before he got remote access to special ed services. And it broke my heart when a family member would come over and they noticed that he was losing in his speech gains. And so, starting with that personal story, like I said, you got to take care of everybody. Special ed students are at the top of the list, in my opinion. So we need to and by the way, as I tell that story, my district has some issues with that. This is a very hard thing to deliver well. I understand the challenges, but that's number one. And then areas most needing improvement in our district. I mean, there's some really upset people up in here. And we got a lot of accusations going around and a lot of people that want to do the right thing. And I know we all share the interests of taking care of children. We are unified in that. Let's talk to each other and let's figure out how we can all be empowered to do exactly what I just said. Everyone here wants to help our kids. Y'all want to help our kids. So there's no stronger common interest I can imagine. Let's talk to each other and listen and hear and start to figure out how we're going to do that as best we can going forward. And I do believe in common ground. You sit in a room, you sit with somebody long enough, you find common ground. And part of that starts with us knowing each other. I want to be at every school site, even though I know if I'm chosen, I'll probably be focused on one. I want to be present so that I talk to people, not just about what their concerns are about, but how their day's going. I want them to know me, and I want to have those kinds of conversations so that when things get tough, they know I've already been listening. They know I have their interests in mind. They're along with me looking for a solution. That's pretty important.
How would you work with the members of the governing board to address our district's financial challenges?
Well, that's the process, right? I work with the members of the governing board and we have staff support us and give us information. And we question and we check and we double check. We look at the numbers realistically, and then we start an engagement in a public forum to start like presenting it to others. They hear our discussions in a public forum, and then we call in all stakeholders. I have my own ideas about how you address stakeholders. I really don't, I'm now speaking about my own personal experience in education for 33 years. My district at times has addressed stakeholders by creating a committee. And some people showed up for that committee. And then that committee made a decision. And then we decided the decision was done. Like, I believe in strong relationships, concerted efforts to reach out to people that are too busy to attend a meeting, so that you hear from everybody. You give them a sense that they're being listened to. You get their contributions, so that, like I said, at the end of the conversation, even if it's a tough conversation, everybody feels that they were part of the process. And so this is no comment on what's been happening here. This is a comment on who I am going forward, because I can't emphasize enough. My issue is us going forward. I'd like to contribute like that process that I've used throughout my years as a teacher, as a union leader, and every other capacity as an educator.
There's about 2 minutes left and we've got 2 more questions. So
Okay.
Okay. Describe your response if a parent cornered you in the grocery store and asked for your support on a particularly hot issue. What if the issue was one you had not heard about yet, but had been reported or discussed on social media?
I would listen. I would ask some questions. I would make sure that that person feels like they're being listened to, because they are. And again, like I'm doing this every day in the classroom, right? There's stuff that comes up every day. I've seen it all. And so this is not something new for me. This is something I'm going to do tomorrow when I go to teach. I understand the structure of the board. The structure of the board then dictates that I talk to the superintendent. If there's anything to be done, we'll have discussions about how to best, move forward in a public setting. It is not my job to fix a problem in the moment in a grocery store. It's not my job to discuss the issues outside of a public forum because of the Brown Act. And so I know my lane, but in the context of knowing my lane, I know what I can do. And I can not only listen, I can make that person feel listened to. I can talk to the superintendent, I can troubleshoot that person's problems, and I can get back to them. And I can also consider if there's more to be done.
Describe how you would balance the following when deciding how to vote on a matter before the board: community concerns, student needs, state and federal law, staff recommendations, and your personal value and beliefs.
Those are all parts of the soup, right? They're all real important parts of the soup. And I could tell you right now, I'm not going to go against state and federal law, that's, but of course, my personal values and beliefs are a big part of what I'm doing. But my personal values and beliefs, you've heard them here tonight. They're part of a process of doing the rest of it well, in my opinion. Student needs are number one. But students have parents. There's a community there. And you don't serve the students without engaging and talking to the parents. Staff recommendations, staff is there to support us. And
We're
time's
going to have
out.
to finish it. Yeah, it's gone over.
It's like the bell ringing in my class. It happens all the time. I'm not done talking. Guys, stay in your seat. Come on. But they leave me. They leave me every time.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we're going to have you go back to the other room.
Okay. Thank you guys for the opportunity. I almost stole the questions, but it doesn't matter anymore.
Leave them there. Okay, board members can look at your notes and I guess start discussion on the two candidates. I guess I can start. I mean, we're really lucky to have two really good and qualified applicants. Don's an experienced teacher and an experienced union leader. He's been involved in education for a long time, but not particularly in the Pacifica School District. Where with Bridget, my apprentice, I know she was the lead on the parcel tax and co-lead on the bond, PTO president, treasurer, and did attend all of the budget collaboratives and is one of the leaders of the Pacifica School Volunteers. So looking at that, I'm seeing, you know, many years of dedication to participating in the school district. So those are just my quick overview thoughts.
I think both candidates are excellent. I think they both care deeply about the district. I appreciate Bridget's effort working with the Budget Collaborative and getting Measure G and EE passed. I'm looking at, his name is Don. Yeah, Donald. He's a teacher. What I didn't notice tonight, and I just want to point it out, is that it seems that he has a lot of ocean shore support. And I think that it's important at least to consider him because I feel like we're in this very difficult place. And I think maybe ocean shore people are feeling like they're not being heard and that they might feel that they're heard by him. So I just noticed that and I just want to put that out there. And he was very engaged with the audience as well. Those are my notes.
I think they were both very well qualified. Things that stood out for me on Bridget's was willing to learn and understanding of the process, but actually Dawn really understood the process also. I would also say making sure we listen is really important when we're out at the grocery store. So put that out there. Anyway, but it's a tough one, I would say.
I took a lot of notes. Some of the questions are very generic and what do I want to say? I want to say that I am a person who appreciates and respects action. So when you've been on a committee, when you've been on a volunteer beautification project, you know, anything where you're volunteering your time, because basically this is a volunteer job. And I feel like Bridget has checked a lot of boxes as far as her community engagement. Pacifica. I feel like Don is very qualified and a team member. I took a lot of notes, so I'm looking them over. He's a team member. The one question that wasn't answered though is how would we get some teamwork between us too? And not just the community and not just the education community, because when we're elected by everybody that lives in Pacifica. And so I'm just listening to see if there's anything that anybody's done. Like if you look at everybody up here, you see ex-PTO presidents and in fundraising. And so I'm looking for that kind of commitment.
Okay. Turn on your mic.
I'd like to make a motion to have Bridget Hurt be the next school board trustee in Pacifica.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, please raise your hand. All against, please raise your hand. Motion passes 3-2.
Okay, can we bring the candidates back in, please? Is someone bringing the candidates back in? Okay, Carlos was bringing them back in.
Karen, would you like one of my books?
Ms. President Bedell, could we please have no comments that are disparaging against the board from the public?
Where did they put them at? Okay, thank you. Thank you both for your interest in serving our community. The board has selected Bridget Hart to be appointed to fill the board vacancy at this time. Bridget, please step forward to be sworn in. Find the. Do you need to read it or can you just repeat it? Do solemnly swear or affirm. Do solemnly swear or affirm. That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States. And I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States. And the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies. And the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States. And to the Constitution of the State of California. And the Constitution of the State of California. That I will take this obligation freely. That I will take this obligation freely. Without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. Without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. And that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter. And that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter. Congratulations. That's fine. Okay. Now we're going back to the beginning again. Yep. Okay, we're going back to information item 11A, the Bond Oversight Committee Annual Report. Dr. Davis?
Board President, members of the board, Superintendent Williams, members of the community. We have several informational items this evening, beginning with informational item A, Bond Oversight Committee Annual Report. I'd like to say that our Budget Oversight Committee met on January 15th. It was well attended by most of our members Tonight, we have online Miss Mary Trainer, who will be presenting our annual report.
Good evening.
Oh.
Hope has the flu, so we're in need of snuggles. The Measure O Bond Oversight Committee met on January 15th, 2025, and we viewed a presentation on the progress of bond projects, including school fencing, dry rot repair, lock set replacements, student desk and chair replacements, intercom systems, among other projects. The committee also viewed a summary of expenditures. Upon a review of the above, the committee confirmed that bond proceeds have been spent in accordance with the purposes set forth in Measure O. The committee thanks the district representatives for serving as responsible stewards of the Measure O funding. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Trainer.
Okay, thank you. Item 11B, the Parcel Tax Oversight Committee Annual Report, also Dr. Davis.
Another informational item for this evening is our Parcel Tax Oversight Committee, Annual Report. As you all are aware, this Oversight Committee focuses on Measure D. This evening, we have the chair of our Oversight Committee, Mr. Chris Swidler. Hi, thanks, everybody. The Parcel Tax Oversight Committee, community members and parent representatives have been charged to review the parcel tax ballot language and review expenditures of these precious taxpayer funds. The responsibility of this committee is to determine if the expenditures of parcel tax funds have been spent in accordance with the ballot language. This group of community members and parent representatives met on January 15th, 2025 to review the expenditures of parcel tax funds for 2023-24 fiscal year, as well as to review the proposed expenditure for 2024-25. The committee reviewed the parcel tax ballot language, and the chief business officer presented a summary of expenditures and projected expenses. The committee asked questions regarding the expenditures. At the end of the discussion, the committee determined that the Pacifica School District has spent taxpayer dollars to protect quality education and retain teachers by funding teacher positions and providing new teachers with support, supporting struggling students by funding counseling and teacher training to meet the needs of every student, support struggling students and engage all students in science by sending all fifth graders to outdoor education for 1 week where they receive a real-world experience in science, and support libraries and technology by funding library technicians who support teachers to provide access to information both through books and internet. I'd like to add one more comment. A couple of months ago, Dr. Williams, you spoke here about the positive collaboration of the district office and the parcel tax group Measure EE, right? I really appreciated that. I thought you made a really good point. It was a great experience for me personally, with Bridget, with you and others, Tara. I think everybody who worked on that agreed that it was a really good example of the type of participation. Looking back though, it seems clear to me that the district should have been more transparent about the situation we're in with pending school closures and the degree of the district's financial need and the upcoming recommendation. Because I think that if those conversations had been public, it's likely that we could have passed a larger tax increase that would have helped more with our budget shortfall. I think that even the most skeptical taxpayer would have understood that a district doesn't shut down a location unless there's a dire need. But instead of being able to rally as a community to help solve that problem, the community felt a bit blindsided by this, which you've heard many times now. I want to be clear that I believe that we're on the same side and that we both have the best interests of the school at heart, meaning the community and the board and district. But I think it's important to acknowledge that there are a number of ways the lack of transparency has made all of this more difficult than it needed to be. Most importantly, though, there's still a lot of problems that we need to solve together. And I really hope that a year from now, we can all look back on 2025 as a time when we work together with empathy and transparency and trust. Thank you.
Okay, next is item 11C, the draft of the co-location and restructuring transitional plan. And we have 4 speakers. So Christina Lee.
Can we call the next person? My laptop.
Okay, online we have Megan McKenna.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I'm through. Okay, thank you so much. So regarding the transitional draft that's been posted, I just want to reiterate something that I think I said earlier, actually, which is I really hope it's clear that the board can step up and communicate on behalf of the decisions and the conversations that are being made, especially if there needs to be parental awareness or community awareness. Community does extend beyond just Parent Square into the whole district. I think that would go a long way. You've heard that enough, I know, but transparency and communication probably would have changed the outcome of what you're seeing right now if we weren't as surprised with what's happening. And that's really all we ask, that's all we want. And then the other thing I would really like though too is kind of the respect to have things read before published, even if they're drafts, you know, and you know, it appears on page 20, it appears that someone copied and pasted just inquiries to Chat GPT or some AI service, because there's actually a line in there that says, would you like me to explore further avenues of staffing with this? Like, it was like a question that Chat GPT usually has with people. And then in reading those relocating kind of co-locating options that were thrown out, it just didn't feel like it was written by someone who knew what the situation was, or even knew Sunset Ridge as a school or Ocean Shore as a school, or even what our challenges were. And that just feels off. It feels like we're not known, we're not cared about. It feels like you guys are rushing, which is really painful because mistakes get made when you rush. You could have the best intentions, but you could royally just screw something up. And we don't want that. We can't go back after mistakes are made sometimes to this. And the kids are the ones that are really going to get hurt. So we got to put them forward. You got to think through things, you know, take the time you need to do it. And don't publish something fast if you can't really sit there and think about it, because it actually reflects on the whole entire board and the superintendent that you guys aren't thinking. Like, I just feel like you could be so much more engaged on this and really care about this more. Thank you very much.
Okay, Christina Lee.
Thank you. It's not too late. It's not too late to slow down to implement a scenario developed with the community to start in the 2026 academic year. After reviewing all materials released by the district and attending the January 22nd meeting, the listening sessions and budget sessions, it has become abundantly clear that the district has no concrete transition plan. And more importantly, they do not know with any certainty that the adopted scenario will actually result in the projected cost savings. Because let's face it, if they did, why have they not released the underlying financials? And they would have actually answered questions in the budget sessions instead of giving non-answers and then not allowing for any actual discussion by muting participants and turning off their cameras. Further evidence that the district is not actually engaging with the community are the co-location committee meeting times, being during the workday and in the afternoon, so that even stay-at-home parents who need to pick up their kids cannot participate. If you truly want the community to be engaged, you need to work with them. The district continues to breed distrust. And when I refer to the district, I mean the staff. The district works for the board. You all, as our elected representatives, need to direct staff to meaningfully engage with the community. Perhaps if they did, there wouldn't be a recall effort and new pending lawsuit that will divert funds and time away from the children. I want to believe that the board actually has the children's best interests at heart. So I ask the board to direct the district staff to release the underlying financials that demonstrate alternative scenarios were considered and that the adopted scenario is the best scenario. I further urge the board to slow down and spend instead the next year working together with the community with a target of implementing a scenario developed with the community for the 2026-2027 school year. Thank you.
Okay. Stacy Leon, online.
Hi, can you guys hear me? Hello?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay, thank you. So I want to comment on the draft co-location restructuring plan. So the district defined co-location as the practice of housing multiple schools or programs within the same building or campus to share resources or reduce cost. With that said, I've had a difficult time finding examples of co-located public schools like what is happening to Sunset Ridge and Ocean Shore. The only examples I can find are when a public charter school moves into empty space on the campus of a neighborhood school. In that scenario, everything is separate: teachers, programs, and administrators, but they may use the same facilities. In the district's examples on page 20 to 21, everything is shared, including teachers, and the students of the two schools are merged in a classroom. Both Dr. Williams and Dr. Davis confirmed that this will occur when there are not enough students from either school to fill a classroom. This would make sense if this were a school merger, but the district is calling it a co-location. Can the board please request the district provide examples of California public schools, not public charter schools, that have gone through the transition we are about to begin and are collating like us? Could they be referenced in the document? I would like to continue my research in making this very rushed transition successful for our students, teachers, and families of Sunset Ridge and Ocean Shore. Thanks.
And Karen Key, online.
Hello. Sorry, it's been a busy night for some of us. But really, I just wanted to point out that a lot of us want to be part of this transition team. But having a meeting on Wednesdays from 12:30 to 4 really precludes a lot of people who want to volunteer. We don't want to be accused of not participating in your meetings ever again, because we were accused of, poor in engagement previously. So really, we do want to participate, but at 12:30 to 4, I could do it. I'll have to rush back to get my kids at 1 p.m. and then come back to the meeting, which may not be very satisfactory, and a lot of people can't. So could you consider changing the times? Maybe do it on Zoom. We could do it on Zoom because we could then remotely log in, pick up our kids, and do all the other things that we wanted to do. Or perhaps you could do some evening meetings, or perhaps you could scatter the meetings around, or maybe talk to us, because maybe we have some ideas on how we can, form subcommittees. With the PTOs can help you get subcommittees going, and then we can feed into the proper committees. This could be done so much better, but we can't do it from 12:30 to 4 p.m. If you really want us to engage, please reconsider the times. We really want to be involved, but we need to be given a chance to. So please help us to help you. Thank you.
Okay, I think that was the final speaker, so we can go on with the draft co-location presentation.
Again, good evening, Board President, members of the board, Superintendent Williams, and members of the community. As I did on January 22nd, I stand before you as a representative of the superintendent, the executive cabinet, members and individuals who participated in the development of our restructuring transitional draft plan, as well as management bargaining unit members that were participants as well. This evening, we'd like to give you an overview of our drafted transitional plan, beginning with our first page. And then each of us will reside up here and present portions of this presentation to you as well. It's not working. Power cycle means. Turn it off and turn it on the side. Okay. Good deal. And so the outcomes of our transitional draft was to make certain that we were inclusive and ensure that all individuals were heard, so that they can help us shape the future of our district. One of the things we want to make one of the things we wanted to make certain is that we were clear, and we wanted to make clear to the board as well as to the community members the purpose of our draft. And so as an overview listed here, and I won't read it to you, we want to do a couple things and to achieve these goals. First and foremost, to give you an understanding of our purpose and objectives, clearly define the roles of the transition committee, of course, ensure equitable representation as well as engagement of our stakeholders, outline the selection process for those individuals that can be a participant, as well as the decision-making process, and then, of course, establish our next steps. With that being said, I just want to reflect upon what you may have heard a couple of times this evening as far as a calling. We are stronger together. And one of the edicts behind this transitional plan is to ensure that we foster the commitment and engender the support and involvement of all of our community members as we move forward. And so as we foster this child-centered environment, we want to ensure that we have the voices of each of those individuals. We will remain focused on ensuring that we have equity, collaboration, and transparency, because those are things that we all believe are tantamount to making certain that we have a really good, sound, and solid product as far as a transitional plan. This plan, as I mentioned before, will provide a guidance for us. It's an opportunity for individuals to provide input, and in doing so, we will make certain we provide opportunities for individuals to be a participant. And the ways in which they will be participants will be in the manner of site visiting sessions, as well as having those opportunities and conversations with the schools that will be impacted, so we can make certain we mind the uniqueness of those schools and move that uniqueness along with those schools and those students as well. We want to make certain we are showing our appreciation to all those individuals for their dedication, that being not just the staff and the students, but also our community members, and even those individuals that are a little uncertain about this time, because we do know that their voices are important, so that we can all make certain that we get the best out of all of us as we move into the transitional period for our school district.
So there's a slide button. Turn it off and turn it on.
A couple times. Yeah, I want to follow. I want to follow. So moving forward, and you all have the package with you, and so we'll continue the presentation. A little background for the community members that may not have been present or a part of the conversation up until this point. In January 2025, the school district was presented district-wide strategies to the Board of Trustees on how we can move forward. They kept three main goals in mind. First and foremost, one, elimination of the structural deficit, two, enhancing student programs, and three, evaluating or providing a consideration or opportunity to consider future compensation for our teaching staff and for our classified staff as well. The district's budget deficit has been ongoing, not just this year or the year prior, but for the last decade in and of itself. Exacerbating that has been the decline in enrollment, as well as the elimination and or expenditures of our one-time fund for COVID, as well as programmatic costs that have increased over the time as well. On January 22nd, Pacifica School District, the individuals behind me as well, and the Board of Trustees adopted a resolution. That resolution called for a couple things. First and foremost, one, to co-locate Ocean Shore K-5 with Sunset Ridge K-5, to transition Ocean Shore's 6-8 students and Valmore 6-8 students to Ingrid B. Lacey Middle School and or Cabrillo Schools as necessary, and to provide a two-track SDC program for PK5 grades at 2 elementary schools and 6-8 grades SDC program at Ingrid B. Lacey Middle School. And just so that we have a baseline of understanding and clarity around what our terms are, as mentioned before, co-location, the practice of housing multiple schools or programs within the school building or campus to share resources and reduce costs. Closure. No. Right. Closure, the shutting down or termination of a school, program, or facility, often due to financial constraints, low enrollment, or factors. And we have a couple others we want to provide you as well. Enrollment, so we understand how we're staffing our students, staffing our schools with enrollment, the process of registering and enrolling students to a school or educational program, including the total number of students enrolled, and the difference between that is attendance. The record of students' presence at schools, including the frequency and consistency of their attendance, which is often tracked for performance and funding purposes.
Good evening, Dr. Williams and Board of Trustees, and congratulations, Ms. Hart. One of the things that, if you don't go back, please. As we've been going through the process, we have been listening and we are looking at suggestions and input and feedback. One of the things that came across repeatedly was a timeline of events. And so within the draft, there is a timeline. It started from November and it continues on to the end of the school year and when the possible moves will be taking place. I want to make sure that this is not, if this is a draft plan, because as the school site visionary teams start to meet and talk about what they want for their programs and what they would like to build in that visionary effort, these timelines will be adjusted and different things will be added to it. The other thing to please note is that we have informational meetings already scheduled for the public and specific groups like CPAC. And then we also made sure as much as possible that all of the different departments at the district office were representative and put their information in, including human resources, ESS, student services, special education, business, facilities, and then each of the school sites.
Thank you, Joey. Next section, Dr. Torres and I are going to be talking about different types of support that we have for our plan. We really want to represent multiple perspectives. And so this first part is that our plan has multiple phases. It has a support phase, and each support phase has information and guidance attached to it. And our guiding values are supporting our staff, encouraging our students, and embracing our families. We also are going to have counseling opportunities, and I see this section as really this opportunity here as helping our helpers and really working with our different groups of our partners in the change management and our path forward. So we'll have different opportunities for our classified staff, our certificated staff, and our students, families, and communities. We're preparing those sessions right now. They'll be between 45 and 90 minutes each. We're really starting to establish what they're going to be looking like, and we're planning for them to be in mid-March. Once we have them all planned out, we'll be putting the information out through our usual communication channel.
This slide represents how we are using our guiding framework to support our staff and embrace our families by setting up listening sessions where all educational partners were invited to sign up for a listening session with a neutral third party regarding our district's current budgetary situation and the changes that the resolution adopted by the board during the January 22nd meeting. We are hoping that these listening sessions have provided an opportunity for our educational partners to be heard and give input. We had over 200 participants and among 19 two-hour sessions. In this colored pie chart, you will see the various educational partner sites that were represented, including 38.8% of participants were associated with Ocean Shores School, and 20.9% of participants were associated with Valmar School. In this slide, you will see the themes that emerged from the listening sessions. Themes included pause, providing a year for planning. Plan, what is the plan for next year? Community involvement, rebuild trust of the community. Leaving, parents are planning to leave PSD. Why Valamar and not Cabrillo? Process and outcomes. Budget committee members, some felt surprised by the decision. Support, most of the participants agreed something had to be done with the budget, and some understood the need for change. Communication, expand and improve communication. Equity, concern of having access to K-8 programs. Clarification on co-location. Perceived rush on the process. And mental health as a theme, need for counseling during the transition. All information from the listening sessions were compiled and communicated to the Board of Trustees in an effort to further understand multiple perspectives and voices on how to support our community during this transition. Some recommendations that were shared at the listening session was creation of a K-12 magnet. A K-12 magnet refers to a public school that operates from kinder through 12th grade and offers specialized curriculum or programs. A second recommendation was a dual language immersion program. A dual language immersion program is a structured way for students to learn 2 languages while also developing academic skills. A third recommendation was creation of a STEAM program. A STEAM approach to learning the use of science, technology, engineering, and the arts and mathematics as access points for guiding student inquiry, dialogue, and critical thinking. And lastly, a recommendation for the Fiscal Crisis and Management Assistant Team to review the Pacifica School District's enrollment and budget was presented. Other district supports that have been offered to the respective educational partners are the Employee Assistance Program, EAP, which offers free and confidential support for employees facing personal and work-related issues. EAPs can help with a variety of issues, including mental health, substance use, financial concerns, and family problems. In addition, the rights for reasonable requests for accommodations has been offered as needed for the Pacifica School District staff. Listening sessions were offered to better understand perspectives, concerns, and experience of those involved so that we can make more informed decisions and foster stronger relationships. Lastly, there is a logistical table for support and information during the transition process.
The site or the school site visionary teams is really an effort to make sure all partners can collaborate and have a collaborative approach in designing what that school programming for staff, for students, parents looks like. The task would be for that team at that school site to provide a clear framework about actions and what sharing models would be most appropriate, what staff and teachers sharing model can be with the efficiencies and new training and enhancements. And then we are also hoping that these visionary teams can work with all of our partners, look at the concerns, the input, the feedback, and use that as a tool to build that program so that all of our partners have a part in a collaborative process. The main goal for everybody is having a student-centered approach. So the programs from one school to another school may look different based on a school site visionary team's wants and needs, but always the first goal is making sure that we do what's best for the students.
Dr. Bowman, I just want you, can you go back and emphasize the importance of the visionary team and the function in comparison to the district transition team?
Sure. So the district transition team is the overall team that's giving a guiding framework. It is not mandating anything. It's not saying that this has to be done. What the district is hoping is to make sure that we have proactive sessions to make sure that there's a strategic plan and that everybody is participating in the decision making. What that is going to look like is based on the team. Principals are reaching out, recruiting teachers, parents, volunteers, community members, and we want everyone in that group, based on the school needs, to participate in a collaborative process. And that process will have specific aims and objectives that they would like to meet in that visionary team. The outcome is to make sure that, based on the space of the school, based on the staffing, based on the programming, that the visionary team sets the framework and outlook for what the school would look like next year. The district's not saying you have to do this or we want this part of it. We're giving suggestions. And then as a collaborative visionary team, you're developing what's best for your school community. The visionary teams for each school will begin taking place in March. As soon as I am able to get all the dates from our principals, we will make sure that we post them in multiple areas so that we can have as many participants as needed for each individual school.
Thank you. And I also think it's just important. I know there's the district team. The work is going to commence in the visioning team with the principals leading. And they will have a lead team and they will find leadership among the community, staff, and also students. And so the district team is not the team that's going to design what the schools are going to look like. So say, for example, the co-location model. The co-location model that the school will move forward with is going to be decided in a collaborative effort. It's going to be based on the number of positions, staffing. We are staffing to enrollment. That has been different for our district because we tend to overstaff. The other piece is getting folk to, in terms of co-location, making sure there's opportunity to team build and also to build on those legacy activities and curriculum and to pass them on across the school district, because we talk about Ocean 411. We are not eliminating Ocean 411. That is a program which is intended to expand throughout the district. So what that would look like will be decided in collaboration with the Sunset Ridge and the Ocean Shore team. It will not be the district saying, hey, this is what you're going to do, or we're eliminating. So I just want to be clear because it seems like there is some confusion. There's not an intent to eliminate Ocean 411. In fact, there is a hope and optimism that we'll be able to carry that program throughout the school district. And so everyone and every child can benefit from it.
We've also, just in regards to 411, we've also listened very carefully, and we know that the middle school students play a big part in that. So through the educational support services, can we figure out a way to bus kids from IBL to Ocean Shore Sunset Ridge so that we can participate? Or are there other ways? And we're open to any of those ideas. I think just paraphrasing, this visionary team is setting the course for what each school is going to look like. So the majority of the work is in this team. We're providing suggestions, we're providing frameworks, we're giving ideas, but based on the school communities themselves and the partners that are in that school community will be designing what their program looks like, with us as a district team providing support and providing supplies or materials like a new curriculum that all of our kids are going to benefit from.
Okay, I'm here to talk about the transition plan team and information. We will be providing regular updates and information on the transition in our A Path Forward co-location and transition information webpage. Information webpage is located on our launching page on our website. And when you get to that launching page, it's a section that includes many different kinds of frequently asked questions regarding our budget, the co-location and transition information, and questions and answers regarding our listening sessions. There's also another link to join the co-location and restructuring transition team, which is separate from the visioning team. The Pacifica School District invites staff, parents, and students and community partners to join the co-location and restructuring team. This team will assist in guiding the co-location of Ocean Shore School and Sunset Ridge and the transition of the 6th through 8th grades from Ocean Shore to Valamar and Ocean Shore and Valamar 6th through 8th grades to Ingrid B. Lacey and some students to Cabrillo. The team will comprise approximately 30 members, and it will play a vital role in ensuring a smooth transition that supports students, staff, and families. As you can see, there's a link to the interest form, and on the website, there's a link to an interest form there. There'll be a review of the interest forms and then a selection process for that team. And the selection process will be a random process. The next section is okay.
From stakeholder groups or interest holder groups, as I refer to them, from every school, and mainly the schools that are most impacted. And so I just want us to go back and make sure that we emphasize that.
Right.
And then also to address the question regarding holding the meetings for the transition team in the mid-noon and why we're doing that. And to let folks know, and the community know, there will be ample opportunity for you to work on the transition team, and that will be the visioning team at your school site. I'm going to continue to repeat that because I believe that there is this idea that the transition team will be making recommendations to the board, and they will not. The transition team actually will be working with the school site and the school leaders and coming back and sharing their ideas with the district-wide transition team. Those meetings, the visioning teams will be held in the evening after work hours, and they will be determined by the school interest group holders, not by the district. So this is where the handoff comes. It is with support, but there's leadership at each of our schools, and the leadership in a collaborative fashion at each of our schools will take the mantle and just go ahead and then start the process of developing what our schools will look like next year.
Thank you.
You go ahead.
I'm just curious how you determine how many people are in a committee.
The visioning sessions, or
Yes.
the principals are working on their their groups and how large their groups are going to be, and I think that would be dependent on the level of interest and the size of their schools and the amount of work to be done.
So Ortega could have like one interested person, or is it just going to be Sunset Ridge and Valimar?
Well, I think that there's something going on at all the schools. Whether it's with the co-location, which may be visibly much larger, but there are changes to all of our programs, including our special education programs, which are happening at all of our schools. So I anticipate that there's going to be a good amount of interest at every school. And so I know in speaking with the principals, that they're looking to get interest among a lot of different partner groups and around different family interest groups.
And so the idea, Trustee Villalobos, is to make sure, again, that we have a representative group from all interest holders at a particular school site, because every school is going to be impacted. If it's from attrition or decline in enrollment, if it has to do with, the budget, the co-location, or the transition, everyone is going to be impacted one way or another. So it's going to be important that every school take a look at how they're structured and make necessary adjustments that will accommodate the needs of their school site, of their children, and of their school programs. That is why it is necessary to become involved in the visionary teams, because we have the number 30, and I think your question was around how did we arrive to 30. When you have a core team, typically you want the size to be around 10 or 12, but we wanted to make sure that we had ample space so that we would have various groups represented. So it could be labor partners, parents, classified labor partners, classified non-union members, because we have heard from our non-union members as well and wanting to be included. And then also our community members and our parents. Right now, we do understand that there is a need for more communication. And so our goal is to make sure that we get the community into a space where we can have an exchange and a conversation. And so it's best, and we thought it best, based on the listening sessions, based on the email we've received, both in support and both who had questions, if in fact the school becomes the hub to have those conversations. It's not like we won't be in the room, but we will be in the room as assistants and supporters, not there to guide or to direct or give an edict and say this is what it has to do. Now, it does have to fall within the budgetary frame. If not, we also have a process by which the principals can come and they can advocate for more resources, because we don't want to forget about enhancement of programs. We had 3 fundamental goals, and the 3 fundamental goals, and I want to make this very clear because I think it gets lost in conversation. I read so much information, and some people, you know, they had various perspectives, and I want to respect that. We know that we want to enhance our programs, our support of our students. We want to make sure that we're able to adopt recent curriculum. We want to make sure that we don't have to wait 10 and 12 years before we have an ELA adoption. We want those years to be behind us. We also want to make sure that as we are among the lowest funded district within San Mateo County, we want to make sure that we are celebrating and uplifting our staff, not just by saying you're doing a great job, because that goes a long way, but being on the lowest end of the pay scale, we want to be able to give them increase. They deserve an increase. And then the other is the deficit. We do want to address the deficit. There is no secret meetings. There isn't any intent other than making sure our district is whole. And so I am hopeful and optimistic that through these convenings, we will be able to have that exchange like the candidate, like Don said, that folk would be willing to say, okay, there's something, yes, in the listening sessions, the feedback said, yes, we all agree that something needs to be done. There's some dissent on what is done or how it's done. And so we hear that. So we just continue to invite, we're going to continue to work toward getting everyone in the room and having conversations, not at a town hall. Because a town hall is not where you're going to make decisions. That's not when you're going to get granular and be able to say, here's the design of the school. That's where you're going to have more of a one-way conversation. We want to have community front conversation and an exchange and two-way conversation where we're asking questions and we're growing, not blame, not criticizing, not trying to find and pick, because guess what? This did not start last year. Did not start the year prior. We are hanging on by a thread. And so I just want everyone, if you have a question about where we are financially, why do we have a 3% reserve instead of a 6% reserve? I can give you an example. And now I'm going to another area because I want to have people understand why we're making certain decisions. Just like we've had an issue because electricity is going on and off. We've all experienced the outages, right? So just recently, we had an outage up at Sunset Ridge. So this battery pack has become compromised. In becoming compromised, just as recent of this week, it needs to be replaced. There is not a budget to replace that. And the cost for that battery pack goes upwards to almost $200,000. So where are we getting $200,000 for our deferred maintenance? We are a very small district. We have a huge deferred maintenance obligation. And let me be clear, yes, we do have bond funding. That bond funding has already been allocated to certain projects. And so when someone says, let's make it crystal clear, let's make it make sense. And so when we're saying, and I don't want to say we, let's collectively come together and say, how can we move forward for the kids? Because remember, the kids are watching. They're watching me, they're watching you, and we want to do this in the best way possible with the less impact and mean of damage. And we apologize. We're not too proud to say, at least I'm not, too proud to say, I apologize for what everyone is feeling because I understand loss, grief. That is what you're feeling. I don't want to ignore that. In addition to feeling and being empathetic and being compassionate, I also want to make sure that we're doing the necessary steps and taking the necessary steps in order to make our district whole and to keep it the wonderful place that it is for our families and for our students. And so I don't think anyone sits here on the dais and says, I'm in a secret room because I want to destroy a program or I want folk to feel harm or hurt. That is not it at all. We want to make sure that the trajectory of not having, if you've been here a long time, you know this is year after year. We have to make sacrifices in order to get necessities. And necessity comes if we don't have that battery pack for our servers, it's down. I can give you a lot of examples of things that are just coming. So you're right. We have a new team. We have an excellent team that's working with the community and adores the community and are working to the best of their ability to engage and the best of their ability to stop the bleed. And so that's all I have to say for now, but I want to make it make sense. And I may have more to say later. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. The part of the slides that we're at right now is about enrollment in our lottery process. Pacifica School District is an enrollment model is an open enrollment model versus a neighborhood school model. This means that eligible families can enroll their children in any of the schools in our district. Our elementary district has designed two paths, a dual pathway, which is a TK through 5th plus a middle school model, and a single pathway, which is a TK through 8th pathway. We are currently transitioning to have 3 TK through 5th plus middle school and 1 TK through 8th. To provide parents choice regarding which elementary pathway to choose for their student, the district has developed a lottery process for transitional kindergarten and kindergarten, as well as for 5th grade. And there is also a transfer process for parents who do not get their first choice school, and there is a wait list in the event of vacancies at that vacancies open up at a school. And then there's also enrollment considerations. So these are just some of the important points that I felt were some of the things that I felt were important given the current situation that we with the recent board decisions. Students completing 5th grade at a TK through 5 school shall be guaranteed a space for the 6th grade year at Ingrid B. Lacey Middle School. Students enrolled at Cabrillo shall be guaranteed a space in that program through the 8th grade. Valamar and Ocean Shore students attending 6th through 8th grade in 25-26 shall be guaranteed a space at Ingrid B. Lacey Middle School. For families with students who would like to transfer schools for the 25-26 school year, the process is that on March 10th at 8 a.m., the Pacific School District waitlist transfer form will be available on our website, at our schools, and here at the district office. We'll be accepting those forms here at the district office, and transfers will be made on I won't first come, first serve. Once we receive them, they'll be stamp received, and then we'll be making those assignments. The TK lottery took place on this past Friday, February 6th. The results were posted on the same day. Every child has been placed. So wait lists for families first choice, if there was a wait list for families first choice were developed during that process. All parents will be notified of their placement, and registration will be completed via our new online enrollment process. The online enrollment information will follow and will be available to all parents beginning mid-March. That's all I have. Any questions? And now we have programming activities in hand.
You've heard a little bit about the programming, and I can't give you an answer for what every program is going to look like because the school site visionary teams are going to be creating that. And Joe, if you don't mind, one more slide. Here are just examples that a school may choose to have as part of their program. What does that connect to as far as the district? We're working very hard to get our curriculum and our policies and programs compliant. So we've had a committee all year long for ELA curriculum. The middle school teachers are getting trained to pilot a middle school program. Our elementary ELA teachers of the committee members are doing the same thing. And our goal is by March, we're able to make a recommendation to the board and have that in place for next year. Something else that would be for everybody is when I first entered, a big request was standard-based report cards. We have a committee with teachers working on that as we speak, and that's going to be an enhancement for everybody who is part of the district. The things that you're seeing here and examples, these could be things that you choose as a visionary team member for your personal school. So here are some examples for our middle school. And then if you go down to the elementary school students on the next slide, you're going to see some others. I will say that the ELD curriculum isn't really a choice because by law we have to have that. But what else could we add to that programming? A lot of the suggestions came for project-based learning. So two of the expertise areas for training for teachers is Stanford University and Burke Institute. So we're making connections with them so that all of our teachers could be trained on research-based project learning because we know it works for all kids. And so my goal is to help support the teachers because that's what is going to be best for kids. But the individual design for that program will be based on the school site vision.
And
Can I ask a question? It's about the, if we could bring the slide back up, about the accelerated math program. And I'm just wondering, is that Algebra 1? Or?
So we're so right now we are in conversations with Jefferson Union High School District. One of the things that's been happening is our 7th and 8th graders get an integrated math, but as they go into high school, the integrated math doesn't count as the Algebra 1 credit. And so we are looking at the pathway so that our pathway aligns to Jefferson Union High School. So they could get an 8th grade Algebra 1 credit and then move right on to Algebra 2 or geometry. And so that's something that we're currently working on. Eventually, I mean, that could grow into something that the school site team wants, but our goal is for every 7th and 8th grader to have that opportunity.
Thank you.
I have a question about the visionary team. Has it been considered that there might be some residual hostility in these conversations, and are there any solutions for that? Like, would it be possible to get a mediator? Like, I just worry about how the conversations are gonna go.
Right, so I think there's a couple of things in discussion. Our principals are working and collecting members for the team. The district team is supporting them. And if that principal feels that a mediator, facilitator is needed to make progress and move forward, then we will have that conversation as well. It's not in place for every school because every school may not need it, but it is something that we've put on the drawing books to put in place as principals and team members request. Any other questions?
I just wanted to also say that some of these enhancement examples are already happening. They exist on some of our campuses, and so you may look and say, oh, we're already. I see you. Say that we're already doing that. That's exactly what the intent is, to make sure that we're leaning into those legacy practices and those good practices that we have across our district so that we give more students access to those opportunities as well.
I will be talking about the move process. Step 1 is purge. Sunset Ridge School and the IBL, they need to clear classrooms to receive incoming occupancy. And IBL and Ocean Shore need to dispose of items that will not be moved Valimar and Ocean Shore needs to dispose of items that will not be moved to the new schools. And the district has ordered dumpsters and will be placed tomorrow at all 4 school sites. The school sites, Ocean Shore School, step 2, Ocean Shore School and Valimar School will determine which room needs to be moved to where in the receiving schools. And the 2 incoming sites shall also determine what contents needs to be moved into those new rooms. And as well as if there are any furniture that needs to be moved. As a result, a map will be produced for each site. On step 3, Ocean Shore School and Valimar School shall set the deadline when purge will be completed. And school principal will determine this with the staff depending on how much workload, how much stuff there is to clear. And step 4, Ocean Shore School and Valimar School will provide the purge deadline to the facilities, which is us. And then we will schedule the moving companies to do a site walkthrough to physically examine, the quantity of the contents that need to be moved. So they'll do a walkthrough for both the moving from sites and also the moving to sites. And the moving from sites, but just look at how much stuff needs to be moved over. And then the moving to sites, just look at the access, making sure everything can be logistics. And step 5, the moving company will provide a proposal typically within 5 to 7 calendar days, basically tell us how much it's going to cost for this move. Next slide. The services the moving company will provide. The moving company will pack all designated items at Ocean Shore School and Valimar School, and they'll move them to their designated rooms. And the movers will tag all packed moving boxes, and the tag will state the origin of the item. So, no boxes will be lost because they're tagged. And 2, if there are any furniture or boxes packed by the staff at Ocean Shore or Valimar School to be moved, staff will be provided with tags to tag them. And the tag will state the school's origin and the room number of the item with the name of the staff. So making sure, when it's got moved to the destination, we know exactly the correct destination. And for any valuable items, the staff are advised to exclude them from the move. Staff are welcome to pack certain items of their concern. And in that case, the district will provide boxes and tapes. At the moving destination, the moving company will not unpack because they wouldn't know if after they unpack where it goes, right? And the teacher will unpack. If an empty destination classroom receives furniture from another school, the moving company will set them up, will set up the classrooms, will set up the furniture, the teacher provides a map. Otherwise, they'll just set them up in the most reasonable ways, typically in rows. So the classroom will be ready furniture-wise when school starts. After the staff unpacks, the moving company will come and collect their moving supplies like boxes and sometimes speed packs, rollers. And the expected moving date is June 6th. That's the first day after school is out. And the duration of move will be up to 4 days. Any questions?
And so that is the draft transition plan. Please know that it is a living document and will be changing throughout the time as we update certain parts of it. Yes, ma'am.
Well, I was just going to comment. First of all, people were asking at the last meeting, why don't we have a plan? Well, because we hadn't voted on anything yet. So the fact that we now have a plan in 3 weeks is, considering that we one time took 6 years, I think, to get a report card, is outstanding. And I really, really appreciate it. The comments about using GPT on filling out some of this, that may or may not have been used, but it's as ridiculous as saying someone used Google. I mean, this is a tool we have now in our to fill out documents. So whether or not that's being used, I think it's kind of a ridiculous thing to be pulling up over and over. And then finally, just a comment about financials. There's zero secretive action going on with financials. You can see every financial you want for probably the last 30 years on our website. If not, you could come in and I'm sure they could provide it for you. Great. And so anyway, thank you very much for all the effort that has gone into this. It's very much appreciated. And I really hope we can do some great things for our kids by pulling everyone together. So thank you.
So I want to thank the members that presented here this evening. I actually want to especially thank Dr. Bowman, who led this. The reason it was 3 weeks is because Dr. Bowman drove with this, I'll say, very late in the evenings with everyone. So make certain we give her kudos for her efforts as well. And then we want to make certain we invite all individuals, like community members, to touch base with their school community and their school principals and ask to be a part of the visioning teams. Okay.
President Burdell, can we take a 10-minute break?
We have one more speaker on this subject.
Yes.
And then we could probably take a 10-minute break after that before going on to the other action items. Okay. Next speaker would be Sue Beckmeyer. Were you done?
Hi, everybody. I'm sorry I was late to had another meeting tonight. Sue Beckmeyer, I'm the librarian at Cabrillo School. And in that role, I've seen moves happen recently, in relatively recent memory. I think at 4 out of 6 schools, something like that. We went through a process of changing our floors. And we took out carpet in many cases, or the old sort of traditional linoleum, and put in the rubbery linoleum. And the scheduling of that had teachers needing to be packed and ready by the last day of school, because the move was taking place the next day. And the thought I had in watching all of this unfold was, they have students that they are teaching that are in their last week of school, and they needed a little bit more time than you need to be packed up by the last day of school. And the reality is, because I was around during the summer, some rooms didn't get touched for a long time because you can't be everywhere all at once. And so I'm begging you to go back to bullet point 1 when I first got in the room about taking care of our staff. Please be mindful of the fact that there's a long distance between June 6th and August 10th, 9th, whatever day we start school again. And perhaps there's a way to just let them have breath. I know they want to go on summer too, and they may be going, shut up. We're fine with June 6th, but I'm telling you, I saw a lot of stress and a lot of kind of hurry up and wait is really the best way I can describe it. And I just didn't see the need for that. And when I just saw that on the board, I went, oh, please. So that's my 2 cents on that. Oh, and last one thing. I know I have time, Barbara, I know. Dumpsters will be delivered. In moments like these, we tend to waste a lot. I've seen it happen time and again. If there's a way, and I'm not saying I know that there is, but there's all these ads on TV about these junk people that come and take stuff away, and then they poof it away and it gets recycled into something else. I would love to see that happen, because I'm sure in the purge, a lot is going to be purged, because that's the nature of it. And that means a lot is going to go into landfills, like furniture, like electronics, like materials that people could use. We don't have time to sort through it. I get it. But there's companies that's their job, and they do that. So along with the dumpsters that we get from Ecology or wherever we get them from, can we please we sift through the stuff and take the valuable things and reuse them and repurpose them rather than fill landfills.
Before we take a break, We wanted to ask that the person who stole the pictures off the wall in the district office return them. So. Oh. Okay, I was told that they were taken by, okay, all right. So it was Barbara. We found the culprit. It was Barbara. Okay. We're going to take a 10-minute break. Thank you.